We're Texas CASA, and we're exploring issues in the foster care system that need fixing and proposing solutions. This is The Fix.
My name is Liz Griffin, and I'm the Regional Director for the Austin area for Unbound Now. And Unbound Now is an organization, it's an international organization that serves survivors of human trafficking and resources communities to end human trafficking. So we're in Austin, where I am, Bryan College Station, Houston, Waco, East Texas, and then the DFW area, as well as some international locations. And we serve survivors of human trafficking and resource communities through three primary lanes of effort. We provide youth prevention. We have an early intervention service that works with youth that are showing risk factors for human trafficking. And we work to do our best to prevent trafficking and disrupt the grooming process for those youth and provide resources to their guardians or their support systems to help build resiliency and mitigate some of the risk factors that those youth are showing. We do survivor services through direct survivor advocacy. So everywhere we work, we have a 24/7 crisis hotline that individuals can call or law enforcement can call and get a hold of one of our trauma-informed advocates and get someone to come on site if necessary. There's actually a really significant amount of overlap for youth that are in the foster care system and youth who are being trafficked. In fact, the Department of Health and Human Services estimates that between 50 and 90% of trafficked youth have had an encounter with CPS in some capacity in the US. Almost a quarter of traffickers in the United States have been foster youth themselves. So the work that CASA does, honestly, both in preventing victimization and preventing perpetration, is a huge piece, I think, in the fight against human trafficking. Vulnerabilities that foster youth experience are the same vulnerabilities that put someone at a greater risk of human trafficking. Obviously, trafficking can happen to anyone of any socioeconomic status, family status, all of that, but there are patterns that do put someone more at risk. Being a victim of physical, mental, or sexual abuse, obviously, having poverty, having a family of low education rates, not having a stable family life, youth who run away, who don't have that like trusted mentor, who have just physical needs that they need met, food, shelter, all of those components, those needs and those experiences are things that traffickers prey upon. One thing that I love about the work that we get to do, and it overlaps a lot with the work that you guys do, is our early intervention program of really saying, how can we look at youth that we know are showing signs of potential exploitation or lifestyle factors that we know will set them even more at risk, and how do we reduce those? And honestly, building resiliency in that youth's community, whether that's their biological family, whether it's through their CASA volunteer, through a teacher, but really providing and building those safe relationships, it goes so far, right? Someone who knows the ins and outs of that youth's story and is able to help really advocate for them and get them what they need to build that resiliency in their life, help them learn how to build safe relationships, how to know, who is safe, who's not, what are red flags, what are green flags. Because a lot of times these kiddos, they just have a need that they need met so desperately that, they're not necessarily using the best judgment, and they're kids, right? It's not formed. So I think someone who is really involved in their life, that mentorship, that building that resiliency, helping them find safe places and safe people to connect with at school, safe people and safe places to connect with that they trust, so that they know to reach out if something is wrong, and especially helping them learn how to stay safe online and how to recognize behavior that's suspicious and identify, maybe this isn't a safe person for me to be talking to. One of the things, I think no matter where you are in Texas, finding a safe place for people to go is always hard. And so the Underground was developed as a place for youth experiencing homelessness or needing a place to go to have a 24/7 safe, secure location to go. And as it relates to human trafficking, a place for law enforcement or people to bring individuals where we have a therapy dog, an adorable golden doodle there. We have soft interview spaces. We have really great resources. We have an incredible trauma-informed care team that's there that will work with youth if they need help kind of with where they go next. And then the Reagan, we opened because there's very few beds for specifically youth or for girls who've been victims of sex trafficking. The needs are different than maybe a homeless shelter or any sort of other residential treatment center. It's a very specific set of needs. It's a very specific set of skills and requirements. So we offer therapeutic care there. The girls go to school at a UT charter school that's nearby. They have 24/7, like I said, care with trauma-informed advocates and a team there. And they do different equine therapy that's available to them. I'll never get tired of watching a community rally together on behalf of its vulnerable populations. I think it's one of the most powerful things on planet Earth. And I feel like in my job, I get to see that every day. It's just community saying, there's a phrase we say, it's actually an outreach that we do called Not in My City, of just the community coming together. It's an awareness event of saying, it's not in our city. Like, we're not gonna sit idly by, but we're gonna show up, and we're gonna show up until all are free. And I love what I get to do. I love that part of my job of watching people like Casa, who play a huge role in these kids' lives, in vulnerable populations, watching them show up to the table and bring what they do, and law enforcement and all the different partners. I think it is one of the most powerful, invigorating things, and I hope to keep seeing more of that happen across the state.